Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. My name is Ben, the Duke of Design. Thank you for choosing to hang with us for the next hour and some change as we talk about what's happening in the world of video games. You can find us on your favorite podcast service, and you can find us on YouTube and Twitch, where we are streaming live Saturdays at 7:30. 7:30. Sorry, I should say 7:30 Pacific. You guys are all on Eastern time.
Yeah. You're in like some weird alien realm.
Yeah, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific.
Who lives out there?
You can find us all
cowboys.
You can find us all on our socials, which are linked in the description, of course. Before we get started, I take great pleasure in introducing my fellow Dukes. First, Cole, the Duke of Rocket League. How are you?
What's up? I'm good. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
It certainly is.
So I'm getting excited. Everything's good.
Are your stockings hung by the chimney with care?
Not yet. My wife just ordered some new ones, so we're waiting for them to come in, but they will be. They will be.
Excellent. And what about Taylor, the Duke of Nostalgia?
I bought some chestnuts to roast over an open fire, and they were rotten and moldy on the inside. It was horrible. I was like, these are the weirdest looking chestnuts I've ever had. I opened them up and like they disintegrate into white foam.
Oh, God.
It's horrible. It was horrible season.
Do you have chestnut nostalgia?
I love chestnuts. Oh yeah, I do. I love fire. I love the act of roasting things. So
yeah,
that's
I concur
good
on that front. I definitely agree with you there. Cool. Well, we got a lot to talk about this week, but the big elephant in the room, aside from actually Halo Infinite, which the reviews just dropped for, the single player is not out yet, correct? It's out tomorrow because we're recording on Monday. Yeah. But the reviews are out and they're glowing. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And there was a Bloomberg report, of course, about PlayStation's Game Pass competitor, codenamed Spartacus, which we will be talking about very soon after we talk about what we have been playing this week. I'm going to start with Taylor.
Ben, you shouldn't have done that. Because I have been playing. I have been playing two games. Grand Theft Auto. Cool. Wink. The definitive edition on Switch, and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And I have never been more disappointed in video games in my entire life. I don't think I've ever been more unhappy playing games. It shocks me how unhappy I am sitting down to do a menial task like just playing.
Wait, now has the Grand Theft Auto update been released for the Switch? Because they updated the PS5 and the Xbox version.
I don't know. I haven't uploaded anything. I haven't updated anything on my Switch.
Because they had a massive update for the trilogy.
I did not know that
last week. Yeah, they fixed a lot of stuff.
I haven't updated anything, so probably haven't been playing it.
They did fix the rain. Oh. They did fix the rain. They added fog in San Andreas. There's a picture going
nice.
Going viral, and like San Andreas, a lot of people are complaining about the draw distance looked terrible because the map is actually small.
It's totally uncharacteristic of Southern California that there's no smog.
Yeah. So they added fog in, but gamers are still complaining that the fog doesn't have that 90s like golden hue to it. So they're complaining about that. But it looks really good.
I will say this, and I think I mentioned this to Thomas and Alfredo about Grand Theft Auto, the definitive edition, is that if this had been made by like 4chan or Reddit, like if a bunch of programmers got together and said, we're gonna make a mod, we're gonna modify all these GTA games from the past, make them look slightly upscaled, slightly better, people would be flipping their shit. They'd be like, this is the coolest thing I've ever played. This is so nostalgic. This is awesome. But because it is a fairly big gaming company making it, and it still seems so cheap, I mean, it doesn't, because realistically, these are how the games played back in the day. Like we kind of forget that the games were glitchy and they had all these exploits that we could take advantage of. But ultimate, and the same goes for Pokemon, mind you. If a fan had made Brilliant Shining Diamond, Pearl, whatever, if a fan had made those games, people would be flipping their shits like, oh yeah, they made that. But they're glitchy and bad and not fun. And it's the same thing. They're both like games modeled off of very nostalgic IPs, but they've both been made so close to the source material that they're bad because they were bad when they were made. And I don't know. It's disappointing, but I'm glad I'm playing them because I'm having fun. I'm having some form of fun with the glitches and the weird AI, especially in Grand Theft Auto. The glitches in Pokemon are very funny, but the AI in Grand Theft Auto is a lot funnier than I remember when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, these are real people doing real things. But now I'm like, oh, these are stupid little AIs that don't know what they're doing, and they're just walking around in circles, and it's great. And the upskilled models with their weird shoulders, just like, hey, what's going on?
Like I always thought that was kind of part of the charm of Grand Theft Auto, like just even not really necessarily glitches, but like you're sitting at a stoplight and like some random car just ramps out of the bushes and runs over everybody and flips, and then some guy looks over and goes, "Your mother's my sister," and then like this crazy stuff. Then someone walks by slowly, they're like on fire, you know.
That's Grand Theft Auto.
This absurd emergent gameplay, and it's honestly magical. Sometimes.
It's amazing because I remember. See, I'll summarize it like this: when I was a kid, and I went over to my like bastard cousin's house. My cousin was like badass. He skateboarded. He drank when he was 13. He was doing drugs. He was stealing his mom's car. He was Grand Theft Auto to me. He was a piece of shit. But I would go to his house and he'd be playing Grand Theft Auto on PS2, and I was like, I hope my mom doesn't come in right now because this is the coolest thing I've ever done. But now I hope my mom doesn't walk in on me, A, because I live by myself, and B, because I'd be embarrassed. Like, you playing that? That looks like shit. My phone games look better than that. So
how is Pokemon faring in comparison?
Horrible. I have glitched my way through most of the game. It is the easiest game I've ever speed runned in. I've made it clear I have a weird affinity for speed running Pokemon, and some guy beat it in 28 minutes. Whole game. Wow. There is a nefarious menu glitch that was patched out last week, but then found again another menu glitch where you can just pop up the menu and travel without any walls. There's no walls anywhere in the game. It's horrendous and silly. And what else about that game bothers me? It's just slow. It's Pokemon maybe at its worst. I remember the game nostalgically because I was like, it took place at a time when I was done with Pokemon because I was in middle school. But I played it with people who liked Pokemon because I was in like a friend group that played Pokemon, and I liked it. But now that going back, it does not hold up. The games before and after it are so much better. These are some of the worst Pokemon games to have ever remade. People wanting it remade were ridiculously wrong because there's all the issues with the old games, Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, glitches, bad pacing in the games are all still there. And the story is probably the worst it's ever been. There are some nice elements about it. There are some cute tie-ins that make it a little bit more understandable what's going on. And I may have mentioned that in a podcast. I think the story, how it starts, is really strong. But the more you play, the more tired you get with the repetitiveness of the game. You're just like, please let it end. Please stop putting all these text boxes in front of me that mean absolutely nothing. I'm also playing Pokemon in the Nuzlocke style, where if I die, I If my Pokemon lose, I can't use them ever again. It's a cute little contained like gimmick, but I think it makes playing Pokemon a little bit more challenging. And you know what? That said, one thing I do have to give ILCA, the company that made this game, which I think they only made this game in under a year. It feels like it. It feels like they were told by Nintendo, make this game and make it exactly like the old games, and you have to update all the assets, every single one. And so they had it feels like they had no time to do anything creative. They just literally remade the game with even more bugs. One thing I do like is that they heavily upped the challenge of the AI. Some of the trainers, the boss trainers, the gym leaders, the team leaders, are actually fairly well versed at competitive Pokemon. They have good strategies behind them. They don't just have like 2 moves that they spam. They actually try to win. And I have to appreciate that because it makes playing Pokemon marginally more fun. But that's the only good thing I can say about the games, is that the AI is a little bit better.
Well, so how does it compare? I mean, because you quite famously have ripped Pokemon a new butthole on this podcast on multiple occasions. How does it compare to the recent Game Freak developed games?
Better. even though I'm saying it's so bad, there is something nice about. A weird problem I've had is I'm playing it. I'm like, these games are bad. These games are bad, but they are more fun and freeing than the more recent Game Freak developed Pokemon games. Because the more recent Game Freak developed games have this overbearing story, which, and I dare you to time it. Start Pokemon Sword and Shield, and time yourself when you get to the first gym. It's going to be 30 minutes to an hour, because you're just pressing A because there's so much dialogue, and all of it's completely pointless. None of it means anything. So in this game, you just start playing the game because it's a little stupid RPG. There's nothing you need to know. There's no backstory. You need a little bit of characterization, but there's nothing like you need to know to get into the game. But Pokemon keeps trying to do this grand, elaborate story that has no impact on you emotionally in real life or in the game. Doesn't change anything, doesn't do anything. So there's something nice and charming about how simple these ILCA games are compared to the Game Freak ones, because the Game Freak ones are just overwhelming messes. So I even though this game's bad, it's better than those games.
Do you think that's just a change in design philosophy over time? Because these are
direct remakes of the old Game Freaks games. Yeah,
right.
The Game Freaks design philosophy has lost its way. I really hope that they can redeem themselves in January with Let's Go Pokemon Arceus, but I don't think they can. From what I'm seeing about the game, the spoilers that have come out, the head of Game Freak has said this Let's Go or Pokemon Legends Arceus is the longest and most challenging Pokemon game, and the main goal is to capture Arceus, and he wonders if everyone is going to try to finish that game. So I don't know. So I'm hoping that they change their tune once again, because right now, sales wise, if you're looking at this number wise, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which are just flat out remakes of old Game Freak games, are performing better than Sword and Shield.
I feel like that's just because the install base of the Switch is up, and people just don't know. Like the kids just don't know. And parents are just buying them.
I think that kids, and this is based purely off the fact that I know a lot of people a couple years younger than me who are my sister's age. And they are all super nostalgic for these games. they love this style of gameplay because it's what they grew up with. And I think there's a large portion of that, and I assume the same would go for Japanese audiences as well. Where there's a lot of people who are just fresh out of college who used to play these games when they were in middle school or younger and really liked them.
Yeah.
They were their Pokemon games. So it might just be a bump based on nostalgia, but I just gotta say, like I think as bad as these games are, they're better than modern Game Freak games. Because and I'll be honest, I think ICLA did a good ILCA did a good job with these games. I love computer arts. They really they added a lot of cute, charming little moments that weren't in the original games. They added just enough heart to make me feel like they cared about the project, but at the same time, I could smell Nintendo and Game Freak looming over them, going, "You got to turn this in like 3 months. Finish it now." And I was like, "Oh, geez." I wish they'd been given like an extra year. If they'd been given an extra year, I think this could have been the best Pokemon game. But they had to get it in by Christmas season 2021. And I think if they'd been given like time to, or if they'd been commissioned to start it a year earlier, it would have been done so much better. There were a lot of good ideas that just didn't come to fruition.
Well, Clams' continued quest and Pokemon disappointment is
No, I said it to myself the other night. If Legends Arceus isn't good, I might actually just throw out all of my Pokemon stuff.
oh no.
I gotta be done with it at some point. I gotta just say, this is just a cash grab. I can't keep falling for this.
say it ain't so. Speaking of things we can't keep falling for, Cole, what have you been playing this week?
Gosh, seriously, Grand Theft Auto Rocket League. Surprise. I can't. You're so right. I can't stay away. Like, I keep falling for psionics, and like, so I've played this game probably 4 or 5 hours, this week, and I've been sick too, so I haven't been able to play anything, any console games. But Sideswipe released last week, and which is a it's a mobile version of Rocket League on iOS and Android, and it's only so it's only like I can't say side scroller, but it's like you can only move your cars left or right and up or down, like you can fly, and then you have the flip mechanic, and it's simple. It's just like Rocket League. There's 2v2, 1v1, and basketball. And wow, I can't believe, like, I just never thought they could make this feel this good, but it feels like Rocket League, like Pocket Rocket League. It's exactly what it feels like. It's unbelievable. They just nailed the experience, and like, and really keep them with like the matchmaking is incredible. The way the goals feel great when you make a goal. The physics are awesome. Um, loading the game, getting in and out of a game is super fast, just like Rocket League. It has that one more game, like addictive trait to it. I've played with me and Alfredo played for like 45 minutes one night. I played with my cousin. It's as simple as getting on Rocket League, joining a party, add your epic friends, and boom, you're playing little Rocket League games. They're 3-minute games, so they cut it down from 5 to 3 minutes, which is perfect for mobile. You tend to score a lot more goals than you do in Rocket League, but I don't know. It's awesome. It's really awesome. Have y'all played it?
I've been trying. Day after day, I've been trying.
You can't play?
Nope.
What,
I
error?
have a Pixel 6,
Oh,
and
okay.
I was able to complete the tutorial, and because of that, I understand like what the basic thrust of the game is, and I do appreciate that Psyonix decided not to just do a straight port of Rocket League, because frankly, I think a straight port of Rocket League on mobile would work just fine, and nobody would bat an eyelash. No one would be upset over that. But they decided to do something different that I think is better suited to mobile. I don't know if you agree, Cole.
I'd absolutely agree. It's kind of like what Nintendo was trying to do with Super Mario Run, except they didn't quite nail it. Actually, I thought Super Mario Run was awesome. I really enjoyed it. But like this works, and it's like you said, they took what was special about Rocket League and somehow they made it perfect for mobile.
And there's nothing, as far as I understand, there's nothing in existence on the mobile market that is quite like this game. I mean, it's a tennis game of ostensibly, right? Because it's soccer, but but on like a more 2D plane. Yeah, so I mean, it's very interesting, and I'd love to play it, but every time I open the app, it crashes.
Well, how did you think it felt as far as like the tutorial?
Feels great. I would love to play it.
It does feel great.
Sometimes I can open the app. Sometimes it gets to the Psyonix logo and then it crashes. Sometimes it gets to the main menu, then it crashes. Sometimes I can get all the way into selecting what mode I want to matchmake for.
It's a lot for an app.
It crashes.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. I haven't had one issue with it on iOS. I'm playing on iOS.
So you're on iOS. Developers typically develop for iOS first.
Yeah.
I am on a newer Android phone. And, in fact, my phone just came out last month, I think. So it's pretty new to develop for. But for a studio like Psyonix with backing from Epic, I would expect it to work on a the Google's flagship smartphone pretty much immediately. But I have not looked to see if there's any workarounds or anything like that. I'm not that motivated to play the game, but every day I'll try to boot it up, see if they've patched it or whatever. And every time I'm crashing, every single time. But I got as far as accepting your friend request.
Okay,
so that's good.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, once I can play, we will definitely play together.
Awesome. You played it, Clams?
Yeah, I am in the process of getting a new phone. I ordered one because my phone is cracked in twain, so it wouldn't be worth it to play a game on my phone. I can't even open Snapchat. I have so few gigabytes of memory. So no, I haven't played it on my phone.
Well, we will anxiously await your opinion on it once you do get your new phone. Well, cool. As far as what I've been playing, I've been very productive this week. I finished Deathloop. We will talk about that more once we talk about Game of the Year. I platinumed Hitman 3.
Dang.
Yes.
Good job.
We will also talk about that more when we get
Hell yeah, we will. I need to play some more Hitman 3.
Yeah, it's really good. And I have been playing It Takes Two with my wife, which we will also talk about when we get to Game of the Year discussion. So I got nothing to say. That's it. That's it for me.
You had a big week though, man. God,
I did. I found some time, I guess.
Have you watched any TV shows? Have you read any good books?
Before we move on, did It Takes Two? I mean, I guess you obviously recommended it. It's like critically acclaimed, incredible. Supposed to be.
We're really loving it so far. Yeah, my wife and I. But I haven't beaten it yet.
Is your wife a gamer or no?
Yeah. She doesn't play like the way that I play, but she plays games on her own.
Okay.
From time to time, she's not as invested in it. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, she plays. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'd like to try to get my girlfriend to play some It Takes Two. I convinced her. She's not a gamer at all. My girlfriend's not a gamer at all, but I convinced her to play some Breath of the Wild once. I came home one day and she's like, "Hey, do you have anything else to play?" And I was like, "There's a lot to do in Breath of the Wild." And she's like, "Oh, I'm done." I was like, "You're not done." And she was 100% done with everything in Breath of the Wild. She's like, I don't want to play any other games.
How long were you gone?
like a week.
He left to go to the store. She's like, I'm done. She's like,
I'm done. I came back. No, she found every single fucking Korok and she's like, I just figured it out. And I was like, Christ. All right. Do you want to play another game? She's like, nah. That's like, what's the
I'll
point?
wait for Breath of the Wild too.
There you
go. Cool. Well, let's get into it, gentlemen. Let's get into the news. There's report this past week from Bloomberg. Jason Schreier broke this story, I guess a leak of PlayStation's intended competitor to Game Pass, or what their plan is for PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now going forward. This whole thing is codenamed Spartacus. And the idea is that there are 3 tiers of subscription. The bottom tier is what PlayStation Plus is currently. The middle tier adds game streaming as an option, I believe. And then the top tier adds an additional catalog of PlayStation games. PS1, 2, 3, 4, and PlayStation Portable games too. Vita is not on that list. So interesting approach here. I want to get your guys' thoughts as to whether you think this is a proper answer to Game Pass. Is this too little, too late? What is this stirring in your minds?
I'm someone who doesn't have an Xbox or a PlayStation. But recently, when looking at bang for my buck, and I've always been a PlayStation guy, 100%. Always been PlayStation or Nintendo, never Xbox. That Game Pass, though, I look at that Game Pass and I go, that's what I want. That's worth its weight in gold. And they're
And you don't have to do tiers on Game Pass. You don't have to like figure it out. You say, I want Game Pass. Well, I mean, you do have to have gold, right, for Game Pass. That's not included.
I think they don't present it this way, but I think that there technically are tiers with Game Pass, because you've got games with gold, which is just the basic, right? Which is just the ability to do multiplayer, and then you get a couple free games per month. It has nothing to do with Game Pass.
Yeah.
And then you've got Game Pass itself, which is a subscription service, which does not include gold. So it doesn't include multiplayer for games that are outside of Game Pass.
That's right.
And then you've got Game Pass Ultimate, right? Is that what it's called?
And that's PC and Game Pass. That's PC and Xbox.
PC, Xbox, and it bundles in gold.
That's right.
So it's sort of a similar thing where there's these 3 tiers, but they don't present it as a graduating list.
Right. It's still
the
fairly
way that it's presented in this Bloomberg article. Though, to be fair, this might be the way they're talking about it internally at Sony, but we don't know what the branding is going to be on the thing. They might still say, this is PlayStation Plus, and this is PlayStation Game Pass, and this is PlayStation Game Pass Ultimate, right? Could be the exact same thing.
You mean Game Pass Plus?
Game Pass Plus.
I just want them to, I just hope they don't get too convoluted with this. Like I just think that even the Game Pass is a little too much going on there. I feel like they should just I feel like it just needs to be simple, wrap it all in the one bundle, put the price on it, even if to raise it $3 or $4 and just say, hey, get this, you can do everything.
Right.
But
that's the future of playing games is subscription services. Like there's going to be the new games that you buy like you would a DVD or Blu-ray, and then everything else. Indie games, I mean, let's be honest, like we're talking about the year, we're getting to the end of the year. It's time to talk about like the game of the year, and I got to admit, like for me, this is a year indies. This is the year indies. There haven't been that many good AAA games recently, so it's really been a big year for indies for me. And I'm like, Game Pass is a great place to play indie games for not much extra cost. So,
yeah, and you asked if it was too little, too late, and I definitely don't think so. I think we talked about this like in one of our first podcasts where we were like, Sony is in position where all they have to do is just almost flip a switch and they can pivot immediately and capture they could capture a huge audience with this. I feel like, I mean, they've been working on the PlayStation Now. They've had that forever. I hope that they have one of the things I like about the Game Pass is you can download it to your console.
Yeah.
So I don't know that did they say anything about that?
No, there's an assumption here that a lot of this is a consolidation of PlayStation Now, and I think this was explicit in the Bloomberg article that when this new PlayStation Plus tiered system rolls out, that PlayStation Now will go away, and it will just be subsumed by the PlayStation Plus tiers. So PlayStation Now, as it currently exists, allows you to download PS4 games.
Okay.
There's no PS3 downloads because they can't figure out PS3 backwards compatibility because of the architecture. But any PS4 game on PS Now can be downloaded to a PS4 or a PS5.
An indie game.
So I assume hopefully they can at least figure out a proper backward compatible solution for PS2 and PS1.
You'd hope so. They were the kings of backwards compatibility back in the day.
So hopefully you would see ability to download at least those games. I think PS3 is the generation that is most in question because of the strange architecture.
Yeah. Sure.
Many games.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the best catalog is going to be in the PS3 for at least for a while. They talked about up to PS4 games, presumably PS5 games coming at some point, but they didn't. There's no mention of that specifically. So I think we can assume, based on the reporting here, that PlayStation is not yet planning to do what I think is Game Pass's biggest single draw, which is day and date first party releases on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think PlayStation will be doing that. I don't think there's a world in the next few years where they're doing something like that. And they have less incentive to, because their first party output just tends to be of a higher quality. At the same time, they have a much richer back catalog than Xbox does. Something that the Bloomberg article does not specify, if I was reading it close enough, is whether or not these PlayStation 1 through PlayStation 4 games will include a lot of third-party games. Right now, PlayStation Now has a ton of first-party games, but it's also got a lot of third-party games. If we're thinking that whole service migrates over, then we're looking at not just all these awesome first-party games from PS1 to 3 and 4, but every game imaginable from the time of the PS1's release. That's a really, really compelling prospect, I think, and I think that alone could throw it over.
Wait, what do you mean
Pass.
every game imaginable? You're saying they're going to release this and then every PlayStation 1 game, PlayStation 2 game will be on the service?
No. I'm saying everything's on the table. Anything that they could license is on the table.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah,
there's big. Well, all I'm saying is that there's big gaps in Xbox's library.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Sony first party stuff that is really killer, or the stuff that Xbox was too late to the party for.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. I think within 6 months, this thing could be better than Game Pass.
Right.
Like it could almost be better than the Game Pass right out the bat. But with Game Pass though, which I don't know if the average casual fan really cares, but like I was saying, the download thing, like that's huge for me. I love being able to download the games and play them natively right off the hardware. Because I hate streaming games.
This is something that I think they're going to have to solve. They're going to have to solve those PS3.
And maybe they have.
So do you guys think if they include PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS4 all as downloadable, and then PS3 you have to stream?
I'll take it.
Where does that put you guys?
I'll take it.
It's better than Game Pass immediately. Yeah. Hey, imagine if they one up it. This is a dream scenario. I don't see this happening because this will be too involved with other companies and stuff. But what if they turn the servers back on for like SOCOM 1, 2, and 3, like Warhawk and like all these old PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games? Turn the servers back on and people can compete online again.
I mean, that's one of the things about the Nintendo online services playing Smash Bros online. You can do that, and that's good. That's good, like nostalgia bait. So you do that for every game. It's a lot of work. It'd be a lot of work to do for every game, but
yeah, I know. I feel like
Yeah.
that's just not possible. But
I'm skimming through IGN's re-reporting of this article. So let me clarify: the second tier, the first tier is PS Plus as it currently exists. The second tier adds in the library of games. So what exactly that means, we don't know. If I had to assume, I think we're looking at like that's the second tier is PlayStation Plus as it currently exists, in addition to PlayStation Now as it currently exists, and that's tier 2. Minus game streaming, which might mean all those PS3 games that are part of PS Now, which is a lot of that of the service,
For sure.
is not accessible. And then the third tier offers extended demos, which is the least interesting thing to me. I don't know if you guys care about demos.
Nope.
Game streaming and the expanded library, which includes PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games.
that seems like the one.
What do you
That
guys think is
seems like the
appropriate
one.
pricing? What do you guys think is appropriate pricing for these?
So would tier 3 include? It would include PlayStation Plus. It includes everything then, right?
Yeah.
Your PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus right now is what, $60 a year?
Yeah. If you buy the
Unless you
yearly
get one of those
subscription, it's 60.
Hmm.
But I think if you go month to month, it's like $18 a month or something like that. It's pretty steep.
Yeah.
I think $99.
$100 a year.
I don't think
to
you can go
buy
over.
yearly?
You can't go over that. I feel like.
That seems fair.
What's Game Pass? Can you buy a year of Game Pass outright? Don't you have to pay for it monthly?
Wasn't it like it's $10 a month, right? So it is $120 a year.
But then Game Pass Ultimate is $15, isn't it?
Yeah. So maybe people won't think about it yearly anymore. Maybe that's kind of an old school way of thinking about it. I guess
That's how I buy mine.
That's how you should buy them. Yeah.
That's how I've always
It's
bought
the
mine
easiest way.
too. But like, I feel like with Game Pass though, I don't think about it yearly. I think about it as $10 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Which they got me there, I guess. So I would say let's just say monthly. I think $20. See, $20 a month. How much is Netflix now? 15.
Seems a lot. Yeah, it seems like a lot.
God,
I think Netflix is at 15 right now. Yeah.
Things are going crazy.
Well, $15 a month times 12, that's $180 a year. So yeah, $15 a month. You get everything. You get PlayStation Plus.
For the third tier, $15 a month for the third tier.
Yeah, for the third tier.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. I think bottom tier, I don't know exactly how they slice and dice it because, like I said, if you subscribe to PS Plus monthly currently, I'm pretty sure it's like $18 a month. It's pretty steep.
Yeah.
But I always get the yearly, which means that I'm paying $5 a month because I'm paying $60 a year.
Yeah.
So if it's $5 a month for PS Plus as it currently exists, I don't think they should raise the price on that at all. I mean, you want to entice people to get in on the bottom rung if that's all they can afford. And then the next tier is $5 up from that, $10 a month. And the next tier up from that is $15 a month. That's a pricing structure that makes sense to me.
Yes, me too.
But at the same time, that implies a reduction in price of the monthly subscription for the base option, down from $18 a month to it would be $5 a month if you're following which is crazy. That can't be right. They can't be devaluing the base service like that.
Right.
So are they boxed in here? Like what?
Yeah.
How do they, or do they just say like, what was once PS Plus? If you keep your monthly subscription for PS Plus, you're going to be graduated into the third tier.
Sure.
And everything else is like, so like that's PlayStation Plus now in their like framing. And then everything else is PlayStation minus. Minus a layer and minus a layer.
Yeah.
That'd be a good way to do it there. I like that idea.
No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's definitely, I can't see them doing $20 a month is too much. I think 15 is where it's at for everything.
Yeah. I mean, they got to dance here because I think at the end of the day, even though they have a better catalog, I think the fact that they're not going to have day one first party releases
I agree.
still means that Game Pass is going to be competitive no matter
Here's
what.
the thing: if they do put in day one Sony first person titles, you can do it for $20 a month, I think. And every gamer is going to be like, okay, I'm just going to buy a PlayStation, subscribe $20 a month. I'm getting every Sony first party game with all this third party stuff.
It's a lot. $20 a month is a lot.
Every gamer, yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
I'm just telling you, I don't know.
I'm
I think
not sure
that would
about
be
that. $20 a month. How many coffees could you get for $20 a month?
It's a lot, especially for people
How many? Yeah.
who buy a game or two a year, right? If you
well,
buy
for them, they wouldn't get it. It wouldn't be the value wouldn't be there for them.
But a lot of those people are currently subscribed to PlayStation Plus, right?
So then
you're
you'd
saying
have to
they would
leave
just
them-
go to the lowest
Are
tier.
You just leave them at the lowest
Are you
tier.
comparing them to like condoms? Like you buy $20 a month, you save money on the far end of the investment. I'd buy a couple $60 games a year, but if I pay $20 every month, it might even out by the end. Instead of being overwhelming. I'm just completely ignore my metaphor, but
I'm not sure where you're going with this. You're saying like you get a lot of use out of them, or you get not so much.
you get the right amount of use and the right amount of savings. At the end of the year, $20 a month, yeah, it adds up, but it adds protection. You play the games you want to play. At the end of the year, you're not spending like extreme amounts on like useless games.
It helps you keep your budget.
I'm the only person here without a kid. I should throw that out here. So I'm saying mean stuff. I'm saying evil shit.
Yeah, so exactly. I mean, it's exactly like my condom buying habits. Is ultimately
yeah.
what
That's what I'm saying. That's a lot of money. It's trust me. I look at condoms and I'm like, that's just a lot of money for like 6 little things that I slip on my wee. But but at the end of the day,
it's all coming together now.
It's all relative. It's all relative.
Well. On that note, do we have any other thoughts on PlayStation Spartacus?
I don't like the name. I just hope they.
That's a terrible name. Yeah,
yeah. It's a code name. I mean, it's gonna be it's gonna be PlayStation Plus, PlayStation Plus Plus, and PlayStation. Give me your money.
Yeah.
By the end of it. Okay. Well, talking about the other side of the console aisle here, crossing the stream. Halo Infinite reviews are out. Reviews are very positive. I think Halo Infinite's sitting at an 86 on Metacritic.
People are pissed you can't replay campaigns, though.
Is that right? I missed that.
Yeah, people seem real upset.
The mission?
You can't replay campaigns, campaign missions, and I don't know why that's a bad thing. Can someone? Because I've never played a game where like replaying campaigns is like important to me. Are the people nitpicking? Is that what I'm picking up on?
Or, I don't know. I mean, to me, if I couldn't do chapter select, like as a trophy hunter,
sure.
That would really suck.
I'm not a trophy hunter, so yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And if you were able to on the previous Halo games, I mean, Cole, you'd have to speak to this. If you were able to do chapter select on the previous Halo games, which I assume you could, that's a little frustrating.
I don't know. I haven't played the games in so long. This is Tom. You're thinking about Thomas. Thomas is the big Halo guy.
It does seem weird to me though that there's no chapter select. That is
weird.
But aside from that, I mean, it's sitting at, like we said, 86 on Metacritic. The reviews are largely glowing. Are you guys going to be playing this game?
Yes. No. Unless Thomas tells me not to, or tells me to.
I want to play it with somebody. Like I'd like to play it with. I don't know how many people can play it, but I'd like to play it with Thomas. He can sharpen me through the whole series. Or is it 4-player or 2-player? Or is it? I think I want to say I read that it's 2-player until like Halo 3, and then you can play a 4-player co-op campaign. Right?
I don't know actually. I mean, is it? I know they introduced co-op for like Halo 1 on Master Chief Collection, but I don't know how many people you can play.
Since we're talking about the reviews, I just did something that this was my gut on this, and it just confirmed it. 80. So this is Halo Infinite's basically mainline Halo 6, pretty much. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So Halo 1, 97 Metacritic, Combat Evolved. Halo 2, 95 Metacritic. Halo 3, 94 Metacritic. Halo 4, 84. Halo 5, 84. Halo Infinite, 86.
Oh,
You see the trend here?
yeah, it's coming. They're on the upswing.
They're on the downswing.
No, they were in the pit, and now they're climbing back out.
Well, by 2 points.
Well, it's all
But I mean, so when did Bungie leave? After 2 or 3?
after
1 and 2
Reach.
after Reach.
Yeah. So Halo
Before
3, ODST, and then Reach, I think was.
So Halo 3 was Bungie.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So then the only 3 90 Halo games are Bungie. Halo 1, 2, and 3, 97, 95, 94. After that, you get a 10-point drop off when 343 takes over. 84, 84, 86.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just think that's worth noting. Like, these games aren't as special as they used to be, and it shows. I feel like they're not in the zeitgeist.
You know what? That's a fair. I think that's a fair little take. Is they're not in the zeitgeist.
They're not in the zeitgeist like they were. And y'all, when they were at 90, when they were scoring 90, 97, 95, 94s, they were. And like, do you think it's a direct reflection of the scores, or do you think it's like, or do you think Halo is just Call of Duty is just taking over? I mean, is the quality not there?
I don't want to say Call of Duty's taking over because that's a shite game. But
no, I hate COD. I don't like it either. But
I think I don't know. It's a difficult question to answer. I think 343's was put in an incredibly difficult position to create a studio off the back of an IP.
Yeah, I agree, and try to emulate someone else's magic, which just seems really hard to do.
It's an incredibly difficult position. But what I was saying, about them being on the upswing is that by all accounts, even though you wouldn't be able to tell it just by looking at the Metacritic scores, by all accounts, this is the best Halo game since 3.
Sure.
Yeah, I would agree with I would agree with that. But where they're still substantially down from when Bungie was in charge, and the first 3 mainline Halo games compared to the last 3 seem to be underperforming.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're still performing well critically, but
yeah,
they're not.
But I think
games.
Yeah, I think your second point about that is correct, that the original 3 Halo games were so I don't know, I guess genre defying and of their moment, and the moment of Halo being the biggest game ever is past.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely part of it.
Yeah. And
It's a
we're in
shame.
like the I don't know. I guess the next phase of Halo.
The post-Chief era.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just kind of an observation I've noticed over time, but I will say, like, Thomas says it's great, and I want to play it, and I'm kind of itching to get back into Halo. I hadn't even really played a Halo game since Halo 2.
That's a good game though.
It was a great game, and it was a hyped game. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to get back and play it. But I just wanted to say that, and no hate on 343, just like you said. But I mean, it is that's just the story. I don't know. I want to play it though.
Now, Ben, I don't know where you want to take this, but I've got a mailbag for Cole, real quick.
Oh yes,
from our Twitch chat. Too Tall for You Fool wants to know what you think the game of the year should be. A little teaser for a game of the year video that we will all 5 of us be putting out in a couple of weeks. What do you think?
Well, the way this question is asked, phrase specifically, makes me think that they're asking what we think is going to take Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
Oh, good point. Good point. I forgot about the Game Awards.
And we did talk about this last week, and I think our consensus was that Deathloop was probably going to take it, right?
Yeah.
That sounds right to me.
I think there's a good chance that It Takes Two swoops in there, though.
I think that would be. I agree with you, and I think that would be an upset.
Game Awards,
kinda.
yeah, Game Awards.
I think that would be cool, but I think it's going to be Deathloop.
Deathloop definitely has the it's a good game. It's a new game. It's got a lot going for it. I think Hitman was a much better game.
Yeah, but it got snubbed. It's not even on the list.
It's not even on the list. Oh my god!
What's funny is like our Game of the Year conversation is going to be pretty much none of these games that were nominated. I feel like.
I haven't actually seen the list.
Even Deathloop.
Yeah, Deathloop and It Takes Two, I think, will be talked about. I think Returnal is going to be heavily featured in ours as well.
Forza 5's on there? Dang.
No, not on Game of the Year. It's Forza Horizon 5 was on Best Racing Game.
Okay, gotcha.
I think, Hitman was only nominated for Best VR Game, which I think it should win, hands down. But
great game.
But that's just me. And I think we'll have to dig into our personal Game of the Year, regardless of what the Game Awards says.
Yeah, fuck you, Game Awards. Sorry, too tall for you, fool. We couldn't get you a solid consolidated answer, but like
Clams,
you know.
Clams is our personal Joseph Ferris coming in with fuck the Game Awards.
Fuck them. I'll say it's Metroid Prime. No, it's Metroid Dread.
Small news stories that we should talk about a little bit.
Yeah, lay them on us.
Speaking of Joseph Ferris and Hazelight and It Takes Two, have you guys heard anything about the kind of potential legal battle going on with Take Two? And Cole, you're muted somehow, or your mic is out, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry, guys. I've been on mute. I've been trying to talk like the last 5 minutes. I was trying to say stuff.
I muted you. I'm in charge. I muted you. I said he's going to say, something.
Wait, I read this in like a fever in the middle of the night when I was sick, and I don't know if I'm half dreaming or what, but like, are they suing them because It Takes Two, the name is similar to Take Two Interactive?
Yes. There's no suit.
It does sound like a fever dream.
Huh?
It's all friction. There's no suit yet. There's no fire. As of a couple days ago, Hazelight abandoned their U.S. patent application for It Takes Two because Take-Two Interactive multiple times asked for an extension because they were signaling that they were going to oppose it if it went through. So it didn't get to the point where a lawsuit had to be dropped or anything like that. But it's kind of a strong arming sort of thing, which is funny because Hazelight is fully owned by EA, as far as I know. So it's EA versus Take-Two here, but Hazelight backed down. I just wanted to get your guys' take on this because this is not the first time. This will not be the last time something like this happens. I think another notable example was, ZeniMax sued, who was it? Someone with Scrolls in the name because of the resemblance to Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls, yeah.
Yeah, I think the game was just called like Scrolls or something like that.
Scrolls.
Yeah.
I just think this is absurd because It Takes Two is obviously a phrase. It's like there's movies, It Takes Two, there's songs, I mean, that to me is absurd.
What's funny is that presumably, I don't know how Take-Two was originally named, but It Takes Two and Take Two, as in the second take of a scene you're shooting, are two different phrases.
Completely different phrases.
So even though they're using the same words, it's like totally different intentions behind them.
Exactly.
Too bad is also a phrase that has the word two in it, a different iteration of the word two, but too more too much is also a
Any
phrase.
sequel to a game is stepping
Yeah.
to Take Two's toes.
Yeah. Fallout 2. To no time to lose.
Oh,
Great phrase.
there we go.
Great phrase. Could totally
There
be
we go.
sued. Up in the air.
They're going after everybody.
Yeah, that's nonsense.
How'd your kids? How'd your wife?
In my area of Virginia, there was a kombucha company named Barefoot Kombucha, and they got sued by Barefoot Wine. And that suit makes sense to me because you're literally using the same name and same slogan for a drink.
Right.
Yeah. But if you're using a phrase that has a similar word in it, that's just absolute nonsense. It's such a waste of money. I've never understood like lawsuits like that.
Yeah. So that was just a little. This industry is fucking annoying sometimes.
It is. It is.
Little side path there. Speaking of the other party in this whole debacle, EA.
Gotta love them. Good old EA.
There's some interesting goings on afoot here with Battlefield. Have either of you guys played the new Battlefield 2042?
No.
Yeah, it's in by all accounts a pretty sorry state. Not received terribly well, even though from what I'm hearing, the core gameplay is fun. It's just really not up to snuff in terms of polish, which is unfortunate because Battlefield games only come they don't come around every year, so you'd like to see a better showing, especially because they dropped the single player. It seems like this was going to be a more focused outing from DICE, them just digging in on what everyone cares about in the first place about the Battlefield games, which is the multiplayer, without the extraneous stuff. But unfortunately not, and Battlefield 2042, I think the sales numbers will reflect kind of the debacle there. But it's not all doom and gloom, and Electronic Arts still believes in the IP, of course, because it's still huge. But they're undergoing a little bit of a shakeup here, and this headline on GamesIndustry.biz reads, Battlefield revamp puts Vince Zampella in charge. You guys might know Vince Zampella. He is the studio head of Respawn Entertainment, the game studio behind Jedi Fallen Order and Titanfall and Apex Legends. Previously worked on the Call of Duty franchise until Call of Duty 4, I think, was his last, because he worked at Infinity Ward until creating Respawn. This is not the first time that EA has given Vince Zampella, let's say, emergency powers. They really seem to like Vince Zampella over there. I don't know what you guys, what impression you get there, but
he sounds like he'd smell nice. The name like he uses a good perfume or something. Yeah.
Well, he definitely doesn't smell bad because they keep putting him in charge of shit.
What else was he in charge of? He was in charge of Respawn?
Titanfall.
So they initially made him studio head of DICE LA, which rebranded into, I don't actually remember what they rebranded into a bit, but they went from DICE LA. And he was already the studio head of Respawn. Then he was the studio head of DICE LA, which rebranded. And now he's going to be generally in charge of the Battlefield franchise, which, aside from the sports games that EA has, FIFA and Madden, do they have a bigger game than Battlefield?
Nah.
Maybe mobile games aside. I'm sure
Apex Legends?
I'm sure there's some mobile games. Yeah, Apex. Yeah. So maybe
That's still big.
The answer.
If people still playing Apex, I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, it's still pretty big.
Pretty popular, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe that's the answer. I mean, they're so happy with Apex that they're like,
Was he the head of that? Well, I guess he was, right?
Yeah, he's a studio head of Respawn.
So I mean, he's
under,
got a pretty incredible track record, right?
yeah.
So I mean,
And not
apparently
only
they're
that, I
just-
mean, like he's a shooter veteran. He's behind some of the most acclaimed Call of Duty games.
so it seems like a great move. I mean,
Yeah, it makes sense. But when does he become too thinly spread here?
Too big to fail. Too big to fail.
maybe that's his thing though. He just goes into the studio, whips it into shape, and then he could go walk into another studio, get him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his thing.
Maybe Respawn runs itself at this point.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need to. Doesn't even need
Cashes
to-
those
He
checks.
just- that's how good he is. He just walks in and does a few things and walks out.
Well, it seems like it. They keep putting him in charge of shit. So he's got to be doing something right.
He
Does
seems
this
like the man.
pique your interest for the future of Battlefield at all?
Sure. I used to
Not
like
for me.
Battlefield. So I definitely have an itch to play more
only
team-based
thing-
games. Yeah.
The only thing that would pique my interest for Battlefield is if it became a third-person shooter, because I am not a first-person shooter fan except for Destiny and Halo.
Sure. Yeah. I mostly like those games kind of became a little too edgelordy for me at a certain point. The Battlefields and Call of Duties. And so I've been waiting for cuter team player games. Like I want Overwatch 2 to come out.
Yeah.
Play. But I'd be willing to get back into them if I think they're being directed well. If I think they're not buggy and good overall experiences, and people aren't slurring at me all the time. So, I'm down for it.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting, and I've always had I guess a fascination with the Battlefield games because I never have dug into any of them super deeply, but I like the unique chaos of the multiplayer matches in Battlefield because they're so much broader in scale than
agree.
Call of Duty tends to be.
They've always been more interesting to me too.
Yeah, the vehicles and the physical space and the number of players. That's a fun twist that these games have. Not to mention, one of my favorite things about these games is the environmental destruction. How the levels completely fall apart as you play them, which is
cool.
very, very cool. It shows a progression over time of the map, which
that is nice. Yeah,
makes Call of Duty feel very sterile in comparison when you play a multiplayer match in Call of Duty, and nothing changes, and you shoot through a door and the door stays there, that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, like I'm rooting for Battlefield. I think something's wrong at DICE though. It seems to me. When's the last time they put out a game that was not riddled with this type of complaint of it being totally broken? Battlefront 2, Battlefield 5, Battlefield 2042. I mean, Battlefield 1 was well liked.
True.
But it's a few years ago now.
Are they just in for the cash and grab? Because a lot of the model for that I'm reading on like multiplayer games like these is really constant updates nowadays. Is there still a market for what DICE is doing, which is put out one game and just sort of go like that's it, play it while you got it? Because that's how I want to play a game. I want to play it and be used to it. I don't want any updates. I don't want any changes. I don't want any Fortnite skins. I just want the game to be the game. So I think there's some comfort there that the game you're playing, the game you buy off the shelf, is the game you're going to be playing 2 months, 3 months down the line with some minor, bug patches, but no major overhauls. So I think there's as boilerplate as these games can be, I think there's some fun in the fact that they are known quantities. They are known to you. So that's how I take it.
I feel like Battlefield should be in that club at this point. I mean, like,
Oh, it should. Yeah, I think it should. Absolutely. But
Call of Duty still has the box product model, and it's still selling great year over year. Although, we could make another news story about how Vanguard sales seem to be significantly down over last year. So maybe maybe that's part of the point there. Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe DICE needs a live service game that they stick with year over year.
Yeah,
and stop making new stuff.
Just to update one thing.
Do you guys think that there's a trend going away from like that PS3 era, early PS4 era, like these really realistic military sim shooters and stuff are kind of, even though Battlefield's kind of over the top, but like we're trending into like the cartoony Fortnite, into Apex Legends, into Overwatch. Like these were games that weren't even popular.
I want to blame it on Battlefield because I believe it was Battlefield that had a fucking World War II game.
And look back into Destiny, into Halo, like these more like cartoony, arcadey games.
Right, because I think when that's why these games got a little bit too edgelordy for me, was when they started doing like World War I, World War II, Vietnam, man. And like they started getting a little too close to home. And I'm like, there are still like Holocaust survivors, and there are still like Vietnam vets who are like struggling every day, who are still like kicking, making these games that are kind of campy about real wars that genuinely impact the lives of people today is kind of tasteless. And so I think we're veering away from some of that like real world edge, because there's no like nuance to storytelling that can be told through these games. There's no like
man. I hope you're wrong, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I think I want games to be able to explore stuff like that. And I want them to be able to find ways to do it deftly and respectfully.
Sure.
And I don't think Battlefield 2042 is in that camp. And in fact, I think part of the reason that it's losing players is that it's too silly when it's got the set dressing of a modern or a near future military shooter, and then it's got silly Santa skins on top.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Reddit posts of like, what the hell are you doing? Why are these silly Santa skins in my realistic military shooter?
Yeah.
Like they're sprinkling too much Destiny or Fortnite levity.
Yeah, you can play Dwayne The Rock Johnson in Fortnite.
Into a serious thing. So yeah, maybe it's the streams are crossing too much, and it's getting too, things are not being handled with the reverence that they need to be handled with. And I think this might be the case with Vanguard as well, because there's Vanguard, Call of Duty Vanguard is a World War II shooter, but it's not really of the same variety as the previous Call of Duty World War II games, where it's trying to I don't know, embrace the setting in a way that tries to honor it, or tries to be, respectful.
I think the way I'd put it is that the model for continuing to update games right now is fairly campy. You do want camp to keep people involved, but camp doesn't go along well with war.
With real world
with
wars.
Real war.
That's a good point.
So yeah, maybe you're right. The streams are getting too crossed.
I think it's tacky too. I think you detected something there. It's tacky, the commoditization of these things too, where you're like selling skins on a World War II game. There's a level of commercialization of the thing. So when I look at Vanguard, I see World War II Disneyland, World War II themed Disneyland. Yeah, no,
that's very fair.
There's a very big difference between a World War II museum and World War II Disneyland.
Yeah.
Right? And they went from World War II museum with sometimes poor curation, and it's not maybe
people are playing Pokemon Go in front of crematoriums, but
right. So it's like the museum isn't inherently a good museum necessarily, but it was a museum.
Yeah.
And now it's Disneyland. Now it's a theme park.
You can buy
World War II theme park.
You can buy special
to such an extent.
methamphetamine candies, like the soldiers used to have, yeah. But they're shaped like Mickey Mouse. They got little ears,
Yeah,
Just
go for it. Oh my god. So it's like to such an extent where I mean, and I understand there's an argument to be had here, but like where you can't feature the swastika anymore in a World War II game because it's not a realistic depiction of the environment anymore. It's Disneyland, and you don't put swastikas in Disneyland, even if they happened to be there in the time and place you're portraying in Disneyland.
It's not family friendly.
Yeah, that to me says we are taking games as a medium less seriously. And the people who are leading the industry, profit leaders in the industry, are not taking their leadership position seriously enough to further the medium as a form of artistic expression and a form of historical preservation. Right. Because the fidelity of these games, you recreate a person who really truly existed in World War II in a Call of Duty game.
Yeah.
And it is going to be one of the most fully featured, detailed depictions of that person.
Did y'all see
an object?
Speaking to that, did you see where it was called? Was it the new Call of Duty where they gave photographers cameras? They gave them like a tablet, and they put them in a warehouse, and they could walk around the scene inside the game, and they could snap photos. Like they were like at war snapping photos, and then they showed all their beautiful photos they took. It was they were like actually like almost pretending like they were being like a war photographer,
real photojournalist.
Yeah,
I still feel like part of that is cheese. Like that is for the PR circuit. That is like, oh, check this out. It's not a genuine desire to like recreate battlefields, which I think a lot of it started out as. I think a lot of it's been lost in translation, and for monetary gain, like make it a little bit more easy to swallow. Which
marketable and palatable, right?
Marketability has always ruined art at the end of the day, like all forms of art.
This is why, and I don't think we've discussed this on the podcast before, but this is why I am hopeful. I am cautiously hopeful for 6 Days in Fallujah, because I want a game that can explore even a modern conflict, even a conflict that happened within our lifetimes. We're pretty young. Within our lifetimes, if they can handle it with the due seriousness, and be delicate where they need to, and shine a light where they need to, and offer up a good a worthy depiction of the conflict, right? Whether you agree with the underlying message of it or not, right? I think that's an overall win for the medium and for the industry.
It's a tall order.
Can be explored.
Yeah, I agree. But like, could you imagine if Activision came out, so they're doing a game on September 11th?
It's a little different. That wasn't like an active battlefield.
No, but I mean, it's something that movies can tackle stuff like that. Why can't games tackle stuff?
I would also argue that movies don't do it well. Movies again need to be profitable at the end of the day, and movies a little bit more so than video games, because they're not 20, 30, 60-hour experiences. They're 2-hour experiences. You got 2 hours to absorb the impact of 9/11. It's probably not going to land as impactfully as that real moment. So
some do it better than others, right? In terms of movies and capturing these moments. And one thing that intrigues me about 6 Days in Fallujah is that it is a video game, at least by what they say and the videos that I've seen of it. It's a video game documentary,
right?
Where you've got your live action recreation that features actors, and you're one of the actors, and you're playing a video game. And then you've got your sequences of the real people describing the actual thing as it existed, intermixed.
I honestly, I'm with you though. If 6 Days in Fallujah does, like, if they get it right, if they do what can only be dreamed that they do right, because the Iraq War is a war that really doesn't have the same sort of memory that Vietnam or World War II do. There's a lot of unknown. If they can genuinely teach about what it was like for the ground troops in Iraq, like that could be so impactful. That could be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once you create the mold for that, assuming they can carve out, some new subgenre of first person shooters where it's like these are documentary shooters. You could call it something like that.
It'd be amazing.
Where they're trying to be as grounded as possible in the thing as it actually existed, trying to evoke the feeling of the thing as it existed, trying to include the testimony of the people that were there. Then what can't you explore with that model, right? That's what I want to see. It's like I want to see breaking open the taboo of we play so many first person shooters that treat death like it's nothing.
Yep.
Why can't we play more first person shooters that treat death like it matters? Treat death like it actually happened. We have a few games that do. And some of them are revered. Spec Ops: The Line, I think, is a great example of that. What if Spec Ops: The Line took place in an actual real-world conflict? Does that undermine it?
Not if
Apocalypse
done well,
Now takes place in a real-world conflict.
It's true.
And it's more or less the same story.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see the door broken down,
Right.
open into in video games.
I love Apocalypse Now, and I think that's a great example of like telling its own moral along with completely staying true to what it was like. Well, embellishing and kind of fantasizing it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much of the artist in that the artists that made that movie.
Right, but there isn't in Battlefield like World War II. There isn't. It kind of that gets lost. But I'll say we're kind of like we're focusing on this from like our perspective, like man, we're like right now, like in the future, my great granddaughter's gonna be like, my dad was there, man. My dad was there at the fall of Tomato Town, and they made a game about the fall of Tomato Town, and it just didn't seem deep enough, my guy. So we're saying this from our perspective right now. Post 9/11, not post Tomato Town.
Oh God,
it's a great observation, though, man. I agree. This is something that's never been done in games before, like what you're talking about, Ben.
I hope.
Not Clams.
Not me. Not me.
Tomato Town. Rest in peace, Tomato Town. Yeah, and I hope like this was something that I just noticed when the coverage on 6 Days in Fallujah was coming out, this reactionary coverage, which presumes that the game is going to be handled insensitively. That to me says that we are not mature yet. Not mature enough yet as a community that consumes this still burgeoning medium to accept that things may be made, pieces of art may be made about sensitive topics in an insensitive way, and that they still have a right to exist because they're art and freedom of expression.
Yeah.
So I hope that the naysayers don't kill projects like 6 Days in Fallujah again, because it did get killed the first time. And I don't know if the first, I don't even know that the first incarnation of 6 Days in Fallujah was something that I would want to play. This new version of 6 Days in Fallujah looks way more interesting. But the naysayers killed it once. Naysayers tried to kill it again. Totally different naysayers, by the way.
Yeah.
as far as political identity is concerned. And I hope that they don't kill interesting projects like this in the bed continuously, and that we can grow up a little bit as a medium and realize that bad movies get made about sensitive topics, and bad books get made about sensitive topics. Bad articles get written claiming to be the truth about sensitive topics.
It's I'm gonna say kind of based on that, where it is that there is that flip flopping of who's upset about it, right? Um, I will say that I think part of it is like our culture right now might not. I mean, look at movies. Look at movies right now. A lot of the movies in the mainstream, and I'm talking about like Oscar bait fucking movies, are so handholdy. They are everything I complain about with video games. They lead you to feel emotions. They don't make you think anything. They are drivel. They are they're trying not to tread that water. They don't want to be canceled by one side or the other because both sides have money. Both sides are the audience, or at least they're perceived to be the audience. I don't think they really are. I think there's a huge, huge swath of people who actually have brains in this country and the world for that matter. And it does upset me because I think video games is that next platform that really needs to flourish
Well,
when it
it should
comes to
it should
storytelling.
because we're the biggest platform as far
Yeah,
as money.
100%.
Video games accounts for more money in the entertainment industry than every other one of them combined.
But unlike movies, video games do get to look at movies as an example. Movies didn't really have that, example. Novels, books, newspapers, they weren't the same as movies. Movies
That's
had
true.
kind of had to create their own economy. Video games get to look at movies a little bit more and go, well, what did they do right? What did they do wrong? And I think I really hope Ben, I hope that video games do continue to push the envelope and really do try to tell unique stories in a way that only video games can. And movies are too childlike to
That's the
actually
key.
go through with.
I wish
So
that some games look are. I feel like some game developers look too much at movies when you kind of need to. Our form of medium is a lot. It's just a lot different. It's a lot more immersive, you know. Um, but yeah, I'm so into that. Like that was a very good conversation there. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. I think movies offer the development over time of the film industry and movies as a medium is, I think, a snapshot into the development of the games industry, but it's not a deterministic
right.
snapshot. It doesn't lead us to where we ultimately need to go. It's an interesting yardstick to compare by.
Yes, for sure. Perfect.
But
Perfectly worded.
we have to carve our own path, and I think that has to start with us being unafraid to step on toes and get it wrong from time to time. Otherwise, we're going to keep treading water. And we've got our Fortnites, we've got our candy,
Yeah.
let's get our vegetables too.
Yeah.
Let's get all of it.
Exactly.
We can do it all. Cool. Well, on that unprecedented, insightful
Hey,
conversation.
too tough for you, fool, says good point, Ben. So good job, Ben. Good job, Ben.
Well then,
Keep it up.
I'll bring us home. Thank you for watching or listening to the Dukes of Gaming podcast. Again, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast service and watch us on YouTube and Twitch live, typically on Saturdays at 7:30, although it's a Monday today. Please leave a like, a review, a comment, share it, anything to help support the show. If you
Take
enjoyed
a
it,
screenshot, draw little words over our heads, making us say foolish things. Do whatever you want.
Draw mustaches and
Yeah, draw
glasses on us.
mustaches. Yeah. Go
Though
crazy.
Stay away from that mustache. Talking about World War II themed. You can even email us, the Real Dukes of Gaming, to have your inquiry read on air in Cole's mailbag, a new recurring segment. All of our socials are in the description as well, and we will be coming at you next week with more hot takes about the video game industry. So hit the bell if you're on YouTube to get notifications when we release our latest YouTube videos. We post everywhere, every Monday, every week. So make sure you start the week right with me and your fellow Dukes, and we will see you next week. I bid thee farewell.